We can do open, just a conversation of how it's improved.
I think it's opened the view for one thing. It just makes it a more pleasant space. Before with that gazebo or whatever that was in the middle, half of the dining room couldn't see the gorgeous view that we had. And that,
absolutely.
Was that what it was? Yes, of course it was,
Yeah.
And that's part of the attraction of this dining room.
Yeah.
That beautiful view.
Yeah.
It seems to have opened it up for the servers too.
Yes,
They can
and to be
get
heard and to be seen. If there's any production or going on here,
Yeah.
you can see.
Multi-purpose, yeah.
You couldn't see around if there was a speaker.
Right.
He was lost back here.
It's much brighter in here now.
Yes, it is. Clean and bright. And
I feel more like I'm dining out, not in my facility.
It's crowded.
that's true. Yeah, congested.
Yes.
I think the thing that I like is the brightness and the cleanness of the colors. I like that. It's very refreshing when you come in from the other parts of the... Yeah, it is. I also like the fact that the decors bespeak Solomon's. The dining room that we had before, for the era, was very elegant, but it could have been anywhere. And this is Solomon's.
Right.
And I think you've done a wonderful job in picking up on that and carrying it through with a nod to. The other thing I like too is that it also takes a little bit into account of masculine taste as well as feminine taste.
It's a neutral taste.
Yeah, it is. And so you can,
But you can live with that.
you can live with it either way. You bounce off either way. So I think it's wonderful.
When it's too flashy, it wears very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Subdued.
Yeah, this provides a backdrop.
I also like the pictures of Solomon's years
too.
ago. I think that
Yeah,
was
that's a wonderful touch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bringing some of that history back in.
You married the rustic with the...
Yes.
To me, the chairs are formal.
Yes, they are.
But the open structure beams are rustic. And you've married them beautifully.
Yeah. Well, and they're also sentimental in the sense that this design came from the gazebo on the boardwalk in Solomon. So, I mean, the thought for it, the idea for it.
The gazebo
Bless
was
Dave's.
It's so much bigger. There's so much more room. Servers have a lot more space to kind of maneuver through the tables. The residents with their walkers have a lot more space. The soundproofing has improved. The audio, everything is pretty much laid out perfectly. The only thing that I would, improve upon is maybe making our server area a little bit bigger, and that's really the only thing that I would change about it.
I'd say the best part is just more space for residents with their walkers and chairs. Aging in place is something we deal with, and we do have a number of residents here that are original move-ins that have been here 15 years, and they're getting older all the time. So having the space and the flow of the dining room is probably, besides having the gazebo out of the middle, are the best things for me, I guess. The views, you can see the river from the back of the dining room now where you couldn't before. Yeah, and the soundproofing too. It made a big difference. A lot of the residents have commented that have hearing aids that they actually don't get any echoes in here anymore like they used to. I noticed that the first night walking out here, you can hear the conversation at this table very good when you're standing right next to it, but the table right next to you, you can't really hear from this table, so it's been better. Residents are really enjoying it.
And when we have events and things like that in the old dining room, and we have the structure, it was very hard to place your focal point, and if you had a speaker or something like that, it was really hard because the columns were always in your way. Somebody was always having to turn around, somebody was always having to look over, and obviously now, it's completely open, and even those columns, they don't even really get in the way anymore. No. We have our buffet up by the fireplace, and there's plenty of room to make it a two-sided buffet, and we don't even have to move any of the tables, whereas the old Sunday brunch, we completely have to revamp the layout to add the buffet, making us lose tables and everything else. So that's definitely another benefit to the layout.
Yeah.
Do you find that you have more reservations, more participants coming in?
Oh yeah, definitely, most definitely. I mean, our numbers have pretty much doubled, since the last dining room, and we have our old busy days are now our new slow days, and it's just everything's kind of shifted a lot. People that weren't coming in here before are coming in here now. I'm meeting new residents all the time, and they've been here forever.
Yeah.
Your numbers doubled.
Close to.
Close to.
In some days, yeah, definitely. But we don't know if that's because of the dining room or if that is because of
It's
the renovation
shut
process.
down.
Right.
Well, I mean, when I came in before the renovation, we were struggling very much with consistency, food quality, those types of issues, which have been remedied over the past couple months through the transition as well with the renovation. So I think, our numbers are partly increased due to the beautiful new space, but also, food quality and consistency coming up too has brought them in as well. That was one of their major issues when I first started here last July, so.
I think the renovation plans will put that over the top the most.
Yeah.
Because the renovation was clean the entire time, and we did win a lot of people over
Well,
by having it out there and the shorter service, and now that they've been out there, now they've not hesitated to come in here, so. It's
Right,
definitely
and
helped.
through the renovation, we addressed a lot of those issues with consistency and quality in our temporary dining room, which by the time this reopened, we were ready for it. So.
And I think they also gained a different type of appreciation after the whole renovation process. I mean, we took them from the dining room that they loved and didn't want to be changed. And we put them in the hallway where they were all kind of nervous about how service was going to go. They ended up loving the hallway so much. I mean, it was kind of ridiculous how much they loved it.
There's a lot of
And-
privacy in it, that's why.
Right, and we kept this a secret from them the whole time, and I think that kind of built up and built up and built up. And then when they saw it, the people that were skeptics about having their dining room changed, they completely changed their mind. They loved it. They just had to see it, they had to be in here, they had to feel the warmth, and they loved it. And I really feel like that helped them gain a greater appreciation for this space of theirs.
I think the only thing I changed for budgetary purposes of what we did is great, but the only thing I would change would probably be the railings outside. Seeing that we're finally highlighting the dining room, and we're showing a overview, I think I would have probably gone with some kind of glass inserts out there, a heavier plastic, and I would have probably changed up the windows. If not all of them, at least these back ones, the simple pane glass. But Dave and I talked about that in the beginning of the renovation, obviously because of budgetary purposes, but I would just try to highlight that view even more, but I think it's great. I love it. I think we have the prettiest dining room in Solomon's, no doubt.
In the system.
Yeah.
I mean, with the views, it's the only Asbury campus I've been on that has anything close to this view in any of the dining rooms.
Yeah, for money that we had to work with, it's hit right on the head.
This had some good bones, and it had great inspiration for the design, so that wasn't lacking. The views was, just being here inspired it. Now, do you find maintenance improved a little bit with the finishes and the layout of the space?
Chairs, no. I think chairs is our biggest obstacle, and the simple reason why is because things get down on these sides here, and you don't realize it unless you pull them out. But overall maintenance, it was a lot easier to run a vacuum than it is to mop the floor, but it's something we're getting into.
There's definitely a lot more cleaning that's involved in this dining room. But my servers are doing a great job. I mean, they love the dining room too, and they're so happy to be in this environment rather than the old mall environment, They work very well with me on it. They really do. But there is definitely a lot more cleaning that's involved.
Chairs are pretty clean today.
And that's all it boils down to, is it's more preventative maintenance. It's not like we have to come in here and scrub it, but if we wipe the chairs down every day, we're good. If we get the floor every day, we're good. But it obviously could be, go to the wayside pretty quickly. And it hasn't, which is nice. It's been well maintained, including windows, which our people have been doing as well, so.
Okay.
There's a lot more pride taken, put it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I think I went through all the questions. Is there any additional information you'd like to add to it, both positive or negative?
I think the only thing that I would maybe have done different, and I don't know that it could have been done, is like when we made that board, for the resident board. I think that it was a good board, but I think at the same time, like this, that's a huge inspiration. And now that they see it and they know what it is, they love it. But I think just during that beginning process of us trying to explain it, without Dave having those seminars, we would have been in a lot of trouble. Because their expectation was, what are they doing to this place? They're making it look like an island type place, and realistically, that's not what we were doing. I think everybody sitting here kind of got the visual, but even you and I in the beginning started going back and forth like, I didn't know they were doing this, and why are they doing that? And it was like, there was just a lot of uncertainty. So I think on our part, maybe not necessarily just our part, but dealing with the designer, I think that it's very important that we make sure that not only we see the final product or envision that, but we find a better way to get it across the resident. Because without Dave doing that, we would have been in a lot of trouble. We got a lot of kickback in the beginning, but he comforted them down a lot, and they seemed to start to go with the program, but it could have been really, really bad if it would have been communicated differently, no doubt.
Got to use your assets. Residents love Dave.
Yeah, and I mean, he did get it across to them, but we had to have how many meetings to
I
get
don't
it
know
that
what,
far?
I forgot.
I think you had 3 or 4 total. You came to our resident
We
dining,
did resident council,
yeah, you came to our
Couple
dining
times.
coffee and
development team.
conversation.
That was only one, right?
Yeah, that one was just the one dining development team. But overall, I think that without you doing that, we would have, the questions were just stacking up for us. So, because that board just intimidated them so much. But they loved the final, so that's the important part.
I was glad to see the fireplace made it in with the resident donation. You know, that was on the original drawings, but it wasn't necessarily going to go in. So
Yeah.
it's made a huge difference for the residents. It feels more homey, you know, and also the pillars. I know they weren't on the original design too. So coming up with the rock work halfway up, I think it looks beautiful.
I also feel that the residents kind of stay longer in this dining room, which is great. Sometimes, though, it hurts us because of the way my reservation system is set up. You know, I want these people to kind of go so I can sit more people. I want to feed as many people as possible, but it's great. I mean, they're enjoying themselves, they're relaxing, they're sitting here for 15, 20 minutes after they're done eating. And before, that was never the case. You know, they were out of here. So, I mean, you know, now I find them staying longer, relaxing, and enjoying their company.
I know marketing's happy with the new dining room too.
Yeah. The coat room was a huge idea.
That was a huge
It's
one.
working. God knows why they're all wearing coats now, but I think it's just so they can use
Because
their
there's a
coat room.
coat room.